Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to another segment of What's Your Mortgage IQ? I'm Carrie Nash with Highlands Mortgage, and I am thrilled to introduce you to Gina Lesch, a friend and realtor that I work with and have for many years. Gina is with Remax of Boulder. Gina, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. And yeah, we've worked together. I think we keep trying to figure out how long. It's got to be 15, 18 years. It's been a long time.
It has been, and I think that just is a testament to how successful you are and, what you do for your clients and the reason that I love working with you. I was thinking back, there isn't one client that we've ever worked with that I thought at all they didn't get the best over the top service and so happy with their purchases. And that just says a lot about you.
Well, and I always pitch that you've always closed everything on time and been able to, because we've also had some difficult, challenging buyers in the past too, as well as, very solid ones, but you've always, if you said you could do it, you did it. And that's one of the things when I'm, writing to a potential listing agent with our offer, I always talk about how long we've worked together.
Yeah.
And that you've always closed on time, which is huge.
Well, it's a team effort, that's for sure. Well, one of the things you bring so much value, and I want our listeners to gain from that. And I'd like to go into, how to build wealth in real estate. But before we do that, they have to know who you are. And every time I'll see a video on Facebook that you've posted, I tell you what, you have more hobbies. You travel, cook, you have urban farm animals, you keep bees. It's just, where does all that come from?
Well, my first husband passed away, which when I was very young and he was young, and that was just sort of a shock because when you're young, you think you're invincible and you think just your great grandparents pass away. You just don't have experience with it. And it was life altering. It was definitely something that made a big impression on how to live my life. And I had never traveled. We had always talked about traveling, and neither of us had even been to Canada or Mexico or anything. And about 5 months later, I thought, this is it. And I was scared, but I'm going to do this, And so I try to have some balance because I know that you have to plan that you're going to live a long time. But at this, you can't just spend all your money. You still have to work and you still have to put away. But I've definitely lived a little more in the now, I think, because of that. And I also feel in a lot of ways, my life's sort of a dedication to all the things he missed out on as well. So, I think he could look at my life and be proud of it and say, oh, look what, she's accomplished a lot of these things we only talked about. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so.
That's amazing. The things that just make me smile is just we had that cold snap this winter, and you brought your ducks in the house
and
your chickens.
Yeah, I've always loved animals. That came from my mom. My mom is she's such a softie, and she loves animals. And we've always wanted to have some land to really kind of have, I think I could have been a farm girl. I really think I could have been very happy in that sort of life. But we got this land, and we're close in, we're in Boulder, so we're in a neighborhood, but it's a rural neighborhood, so we're allowed to have some things. And we started with some chickens and ducks, and actually last night I got a baby goat. So if I look tired today, she was crying. She's very sad because she missed her mom, and we also need to get a second one, and the timing's a little off. You're supposed to have them together, but the one's coming from someplace else, so we'll have that probably in a day or two. But yeah, she's a little lonely. So
oh my gosh,
the little bags under my eyes, but she's so cute. I'm surprised she's not crying. She's sleeping right now. So
see, that's what I mean. You just crack me up. You always have something going on. Well,
yeah. And the bees, and we got our bees all set up this year because I lost my first hive, which I have learned is pretty common. I didn't know bees were so difficult, but they are very fussy, and a lot of things really can just ruin your hive. So I took a lot of more classes, not just real estate. I took a lot of classes this year, a ton of real estate classes. I've got my luxury marketing designation now, and a guild, it's like another add-on from the past luxury that I've already done. So I got another designation with that, with my experience. But I also took some B classes, which was great. So I think I'll do much better, different placements. So they look very happy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, this passion that you have for life that I really enjoy, you certainly bring that to your clients. And I think you take an overwhelming, what can be sometimes an overwhelming experience, and you bring it down to, okay, these are the important things. These are the things you need to focus on. And again, every client benefits from working with you. But I'd love for you to share how you have helped clients build wealth through real estate. There's a lot of things on TV and, get rich through real estate, and a lot of people sell books and things to that. But really, when it gets down to brass tacks, you need to have your ducks in a row. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
And I got into real estate because I made so much money on my first house. It kind of ended up being a flip. It wasn't intended that way, but I had the opportunity to move to Colorado after only a year, but I'd fixed it up, and I made more money selling that home after cost than I made in a year. And I thought, wow, what is this? Because I couldn't have saved that much money. So that's what got me interested. And I certainly have been, trying to do the same with my clients. So, of course, just even on your regular residents, making sure that hopefully they make the best decision on the property, on a property that'll hopefully be good for resale. I help a lot of people sometimes determine what fixes to do later down the road for resale so they can get more bang for their buck. If it's a property that's going to need some of those upsides, I try to counsel them just even on their own home purchase, so that hopefully, because I have had clients come to me and say, I've lost money on every property I've ever owned. And I go, how is that possible? You've got to buy through me, because, we'll do our best, to make sure that doesn't happen. Or even when times go down, if people can't afford, trying to come up with ideas that they can hold on to that till things change around, whether it's renting it or different things there. But then I also help people with investment properties. So I've had a lot of people, whether it's pull out some money out of their main residence or money that they've gotten through just saving, or even sometimes they might get something through an inheritance, and how we can put that money to work for them. And I've helped a lot of people invest. And then even, maybe taking some out of their first property, that investment, and when it's gotten some appreciation, and then getting the second, the third, and the fourth, and sometimes the fifth. I mean, we've really worked on that so that they have income that's coming in. We call it wake up money, that you're waking up and you have money coming in, right? Without doing anything. And when you retire, and then like talking about how we can maybe pull all those funds to pay off the first one, so that that's now, mortgage free. And that opens you up to all sorts of other possibilities, whether it's taking out, maybe a line of credit on that, a HELOC, so that you can buy some more, or just knowing now I'm going to get this much income coming in when I retire, helping to retire early.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that. And then if you have little ones and you're able to get a property and hold that, particularly here, we're the highest appreciating metropolitan community in the nation. So that's pretty powerful. Since they've been keeping score since '91, and we're #1. So that's pretty crazy, the Boulder County area. So knowing that, you can't find a better place to purchase property. And so if you can invest in property while you have little ones and hold that, and then sell that, rent that out to somebody, even if you're not getting a great rate of return, which it's pretty skinny margins right now, maybe you're even kicking in $100 to that, but consider that like a college plan. So maybe you're going to pay $100 or $150 every month towards that, because maybe you can't rent it out as much with the prices the way they are right now. But in 10 years or 15 years, when those kids are going to go to college, you could resell that property, and you're going to have some college money for those kids. So, those kinds of things, or sometimes even buying a condominium. I just helped somebody recently who bought a condo for their kid while they're going to school out here versus paying, for that. And a lot of times in a market right now, we're seeing double-digit appreciation. You can sell that often and pay for some of their school, instead of paying the school for a place for them to stay. And even if the market starts to go down, they're going to have a good rental, because we talked about that too.
Right.
If their kid leaves, a lot of times they stay. That's the other thing. I'm like,
They
they
can
might
stay.
just have a really nice place to live when they get
Right.
their job here and they want to stay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember one client in particular that had kind of casually mentioned to you, I'd like to start buying real estate. And I think he at least has 5 properties or so. And he has to look back. That seems just a short period of time ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I cannot even imagine, the great investment, that he's made. But you were driving that, and that's what's great. You told him how to do it. You do this, this, and this, and he did it.
When it's
So
fun, with COVID, I haven't really been doing it, but I've been, in years past, I'll try and sit down with folks and talk about their real estate investments, or, even just their, residential property that they live in, if that's the only one they have. But it's fun with my investors when they bring me their own numbers now. And we're looking at both of our numbers together and how much their wealth has grown. And that's really fun. And, and sometimes we're like, should I sell it? And we look at all the different things, because there's tax consequences with selling properties. And right now the gap rates are a lot skinnier so than they were if you bought something 6, 7, 8 years ago. So I'm like, you probably won't find the same thing, but sometimes it makes sense if they want to go into maybe a multiplex type of deal. Now they're like, I want to get out of the single family rentals and get a bigger complex or something. Then it might make sense to do something like that.
Yeah. I think the first one is always the biggest challenge, because it's the unknown. And it's like, well, how do I get this money? How do I get the 20% down? And, it's just like any experience. The first time you do it, it might seem a little overwhelming, but then once you've done it, and I think I'm a big proponent of having a great team. You have a great realtor who has done this before and knows what to look for appreciation and for rents. And personally, I think a management company, because I don't want to be called at 10 o'clock at night to, fix a water leak. And there's ways to, put it together that is not overwhelming. And man, I just applaud you for all the people that you've helped, and you've done it in such a kind and fun way. Not like you got to do this, you have to do this. You take whatever stage they're at and you help them get to that next stage. And I think it's just brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I had the nicest compliment. I have clients I've been working with for a long time. And they had referred some friends that we're working with right now. And they, they keep trying to ask stuff, and I'm like, it's confidential. You got to call them. But I'm like, once it closes, but they're under contract. So they found out they were under contract, and they're like, oh, this is so great. And they said, and the best part about it is now they're part of your family. Oh. And I thought that was so nice, because that is what happens. I do try, to stay in contact with people. We do a lot of events at our home. We invite people in, and they do become a part of our family. And we've developed some really strong friendships with people that we've met through, this business. And so I just thought, that's so nice that they feel that from my clients, that they were so excited. They're like, oh, good. Now they'll be at these events and they'll be part of the family and
part of the club.
So I thought that was really a sweet compliment.
That's the highest compliment. Absolutely. When people want to share their experience and, oh, you have to go to my person, couldn't ask for a better compliment. Well, Gina, I really appreciate your time in sharing all this wealth of information with people. And if people want to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Well, they can call. My cell phone is 303-579-6858. And also email. When I'm not out with folks, I'm on the computer constantly. So you can also email me, and that is Gina@realestatewithgina.com. And Gina is spelled Gina. So always happy to talk. And I will say people are going to get hit with their taxes. That's the next thing that's coming out. So even if I didn't help you, but you have questions about that, you're going to get your new assessment. They're mailing them May 1st, and they're going to probably be up, and people are going to have questions about how you appeal that and that sort of thing. And I'm always happy to help, even folks that I haven't, worked with in the past. So
Once again, showing your heart. I love it. That's great.
Everybody's like, oh, my house is worth this much, and oh, my taxes go up. So, but there are some really viable things. Sometimes people do have issues that they can appeal it and get it brought down. And additionally, if people have been hit hard during this economy, there are some things you can do to defer taxes and things like that as well, if you're really being challenged financially.
Great idea. Great idea. Well, thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Gina
I love
Lesch
working with you.
RE/MAX of Boulder. And you have a great day. And thanks again for spending some valuable time with us.